And that's for you, smart guy.
Welcome to the BJ Show. Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Come on, everybody. Let's lose control. Brad and John never wants to follow. Yeah, ready for the ride. It's the BJ Show. BJ Show.
It is Brad and John. That is John. I am Brad. It's John Combest, Johncombest, for 23 years now? Is it 23 yet? Hold on a minute. I forgot to turn you on. Okay,
22 years, Brad.
22 years. And what's the exact date?
It's October 2nd, 2001, which is the day I began updating daily.
Are you on your headset, or are you not in your normal?
You're right. Yeah, today in A Block, I'm going to be in the car, Brad. I just came from an event. So, yeah, I'm going to be in the car here for A Block.
Okay, cool. That is John Combest, C-O-M-B-E-S-T. John is common spelling. Put a .com on the end, and you've got his website. He does this every single day for 22-plus years, soon to be 23. Puts together a list. It's sort of like the old Drudge Report. And the reason I said the old Drudge Report is lately I've been seeing people saying, what's going on with Drudge? Do you know the story behind the what's... Drudge is no longer there. Is he's gone, right?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people tweet about it lately, and I believe Drudge hasn't been an active part of that site for a while, but I could be wrong. He certainly used to be quite conservative / libertarian, and then something happened around the early part of the Trump era, I think.
Maybe he got trumpeted. That's what happened. Anyway, John puts together this list and he puts it on his website. It's not anything fancy, not to degrade John. It's just very serviceable. Like I said, sort of reminds you of the old Drudge Report. It's links, and you find out something that of interest to you. You click on it, takes you to that website. Could be a video, could be a newspaper site, could be a TV, radio, could be practically anything. But it's not a XXX site. We'll guarantee it's not that. Anyway, John will put this together every morning, and then we get together on the air, and we bring in this guy.
Up a notch to number 2.
And I pressed the wrong button. We bring in this guy.
I'm Casey Kasem.
And he starts it off with...
In third place...
The Clayton Art Fair, Brad, has been subjected to politics, it appears. Can you believe art, Brad, being subjected to the political whims? Did you happen to read the story in the Post-Dispatch, Brad?
I did not.
Well, there is a group that was planning on performing at the Clayton Art Fair, and I have their name here. I want to make sure that we get this, that I might pronounce this wrong, Brad, but I believe it's pronounced the Cannon Wellspring Dabkey Dance Troupe.
Oh.
I'm guessing they do the dab move a lot.
I've seen them
in their dance troupe.
I've seen them on Tonight Show quite often.
They are, yeah, and they've also been on Steve Allen, and they've also been on the Gong Show. That was I think their best performance was on the Gong Show.
Weren't they on
But apparently, Brad, this group, which is a pro-Palestinian dance group, they were formed, I guess, they were created this year, and they were under the impression that all systems were go, that they were going to perform at the Clayton Art Fair. And then the organizer of the Clayton Art Fair reached out and said there had been a miscommunication. Now, Brad, if you were to blame a snafu on one person in an organization, I'm going to put you on the spot, one person who's likely to be a culprit that you can blame stuff on, who would you blame a miscommunication on?
Oh, hold it. Are you talking about someone specific, like or like?
No,
generic?
Not a human, but like let's say a role or a position.
A role or position of a person? Or I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
So in other words, we're talking about a person, but we're not talking about someone by their proper name. We're talking
You're exactly
about that
right.
as their title.
Correct.
Okay. Who would it be?
Yes.
I would say it would be the dance reviewer in chief, who's the assistant to the head dance reviewer. That's who I would think it would be.
You are very close, Brad. An intern. So it turns out that there were a couple reasons why this pro-Palestinian group has been uninvited from the art fair. The first reason given by the organizers is that the paperwork was submitted after the art fair printing deadline had passed. So in other words, if you didn't submit your paperwork early enough to be in the printed art fair guide, you couldn't attend. But then, under pressure, it appears that the art fair organizer says, well, actually, it's because the group is pro-Palestinian, and we want to have an environment that's welcoming to all. And some people feel, particularly some sponsors feel, like having a pro-Palestinian group wouldn't be inclusive to all. Now, the confounding factor here, Brad, is that apparently the intern for the art fair decided to sing to the Post-Dispatch, did not use her name, and I'm guessing it's a her. Like, if you're going to intern for an art fair, well, I guess it could be a gay guy, but you're not going to have like a straight man. So let's just say her. The intern for the art fair decided to sing to the Post-Dispatch and said, yeah, we were under pressure because there were some sponsors that didn't want anything that appeared to be pro-Palestinian. So to cut to the chase, Brad, the Clayton Art Fair is still a go. And you could still go there and see, I guess, you know, for the type of people that like to walk around and look at art, I guess, it's still a go, but you will not enjoy the musical stylings and interpretive dance of some pro-Palestinian youngsters.
Is that this weekend?
That is this weekend in Clayton, yeah.
You know, we used to have a nice lady who came on the air with me every year, and she promoted, and she worked for the public relations agency, and she would always give me somebody to interview, and most of the interviews were really interesting. I mean, some interesting artists, and you know, not that I'm know anything about this kind of thing, but the interesting part of this is a juried art fair, which means not just everybody can show up with their finger painting on cardboard or anything like that. You know, you have to pass a couple different tests, I guess, or stuff like that. And I've never gone. Have you ever gone to the Clayton Art Fair?
Yeah, I remember going. I think I've gone twice, and I think both times I went, I think I was roped into it because a group that I was with was sponsoring it or something. And I just remember walking around, and I think I was sipping some uppity wine and pretending to give a you-know-what about art, like, oh, that's very Basquiat-ish, you know? Like, I don't know anything about art. I'd rather walk around and look at a kid's art fair in an elementary school, you know what I mean? But, you know, to each their own. What I think the good thing about having, and the one thing I would clarify that you said, Brad, according to the Post-Dispatch, it's not a juried art fair. It's a 12 angry jurors art fair. So there's an old guy that just wants to feel love and wants attention. I know you relate to him. And then there's like, now it's like 12 angry jurors because you can't call them men. But yeah, it's a 12 angry jurors art fair this year.
And you know what? It's funny you should mention that, because just yesterday I went to one of my favorite places, and I said, can I have that hamburger Basquiat style, or whatever you said? And they said, what? I go, you got to understand.
Well, yeah, but you're also a favorite at Freddy's. Now, at Freddy's, Brad, do they still ask you where Shelly is?
Well, that lady's gone. The lady who was the assistant manager, who was so nice to us all the time. Yeah, she's gone, and Shelly won't go there anymore.
What is her beef with Freddy's?
She doesn't like the beef.
Well, that's a pretty poor reason. Can't she go there and just sit in the booth and keep you company, Brad?
No, she hates the place now. She won't go there. I mean, you know, see, you know, this is you know, you're into fast food too much. You know what's interesting about Freddy's? You know what the correlation between Freddy's and Pizza Hut is? This is going to be a thing. Okay, we're talking hamburgers, we're talking pizza, we're talking a chain that's relatively new, we're talking a chain that's been around for 50 plus years.
I don't have any idea.
They were both started in Wichita, Kansas.
No way, really?
Yeah. And matter of fact, it's interesting. Along the way, being a Freddy's fan and sometimes posting stuff on Facebook, I've had not one, not two, but three people who have contacted me who actually knew Freddy.
You know, when you go to, I'm sure you know this, but when you go to any Freddy's location, they have a ton of pictures of this gentleman up, and apparently he played for the Shockers. He played basketball for the Wichita State Shockers, right?
Right, and he was a World War II veteran, the whole bit. It was pretty interesting. Now, the other interesting thing is, you get tired of all my stories. Twice I've been in Freddy's. It hasn't happened in a while, and it was interesting. Both of these incidents happened about 3 or 4 months apart at two different restaurants. As a matter of fact, I have a video of the first encounter, which I will not publish because I don't want to embarrass the lady, but I'm sitting eating my food, and a nice lady comes over to me and starts talking to me and said, as a matter of fact, if I'm in person with you, not that I don't trust you, but I'll play this video for you sometime. She comes over to me and tries to save me. And the reason she's saving me is because she sees the way I walk, and she starts quoting Bible verses. And she starts quoting Bible verses to me, and she wants to put her hands on my back, and she wants to cure me.
Oh, wow. Now, the best part about this is she ended up beating Lacey Clay and get elected to Congress, right?
I don't know. It wasn't her. and the second time it happened at a different Freddy's, and I'm going like, what is this with these people hanging out at Freddy's? I mean, you would expect that at you would expect that at Chick-fil-A, but not at Freddy's. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
I know exactly what you mean. And talking about high expectations, Brad, that leads nicely into story number 2.
Which is right here.
Up a notch to number 2.
You are a noted fan of the higher education complex, Brad. You were a constant cheerleader for America's advanced academic institutions, so to speak. So you'll be pleased to know that Southeast Missourian has announced a brand new admissions system. Now, Brad, the admission system is not based on DEI or diversity. I'm going to put you on the spot again. What brand spanking new form of admissions is Southeast Missouri State embracing?
Fingerprints, DNA.
I thought you were going to say finger painting. That's Basquiatish. No, that's a great guess, though, Brad. The correct answer is no applications admission. Have you heard about this?
Now, how are they going to do this? I mean, what do you just
very easily, Brad.
You just show up?
Go ahead, Brad.
You just show up? Hey, I'm here. I'm ready to start.
Now, for those who don't know, the old way of getting into college, as Brad would tell you, was you just have a really good science project, and a guy from the WashU Engineering School will come over, offer you a full ride if your name's Brad Hildebrand, and then you turn it down to go to an Illinois state school. That's the way it works, right, Brad?
Yeah, how stupid I was. But we've all made mistakes in our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wouldn't call that stupid. I think it ended up pretty well for you, even though you didn't go to WashU Engineering or something. But, here's the thing, Brad. The way this works is that SEMO, we'll just use the colloquial SEMO going forward, partnered with a group called Niche. Now, I would call it Niche. If you were in the central rear end and you were going to a restaurant, there they call it Niche. Maybe we'll call it Niche. So Niche has a program where, as I understand it, there's a personalized dashboard that you just join when you're in high school, and all your grades get uploaded. Your grades and your academic performance and your extracurriculars get uploaded to Niche. So just think a big database, which of course everybody wants to give their information to. And then Niche just partners with SEMO, and SEMO says, okay, en masse, this group of kids looks good. They don't even have to apply. Hey kid, you're 17, come to SEMO. You're accepted. Your grades look fine. What do you think of that, Brad? I think it's great for the modern era, and anything we can do. You know that the ticket to success in life is getting a bunch of diplomas you can put up on your wall, that you could post on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So the more we can do to get people to put diplomas up on their wall, the better.
Okay, so you automatically at some point in time you do this for when you're in high school and all your stuff gets automatically uploaded, and at some point in time you've hit the trigger point or something like that, and SEMO says, "Oh, we love you. When can you start?" Is that how it sort of works?
I think it's even easier. I don't think you have to hit a trigger. I think that once your grades are uploaded. So again, I don't know exactly how this works. I'm guessing that once you get to high school, you can join Niche. You can join and start your own dashboard. There's something similar that I've seen, Brad, that high school athletes have called Huddle. Have you seen Huddle before?
I do know what Huddle is, but explain to people what Huddle is.
Huddle is a site, you probably know more about this than I do, Brad, where you can, if you're a high school athlete, in the olden days, you would take a VHS tape and send it to college coaches so that they could watch your game film. But now, since most high schools film digitally each game, you can create a profile on Huddle, and then you can have your career highlights. So if you play girls volleyball, you can show that time that you blocked a shot, or that time you spiked, or how great your serving skills are. You can essentially create what in the olden days was called a sizzle reel, upload it to Huddle, and then coaches around the country can go and watch your highlights and sort by, sport, position, whether or not kids want to go D1, D2, D3, whatever. So to me, this seems something like that, but it seems even easier because once your grade's up there, can't you just imagine though, Brad, if you had like a 2.5 grade point average you could be on niche, and then community colleges, I'm stereotyping here, but community colleges and several state schools would reach out to you probably when you're a junior and send you marketing materials and then maybe try to get you to come to campus or things like that. It seems like a pretty cool deal. And let's face it, Brad, in an era in which DEI programs are going away and you need to lower the bar if you want to meet your minority student quotas, why not just have no application admissions?
Well, now hold it. Is niche just for Southeast Missouri State, or is this a thing that a lot?
No, I think it's a national deal. Or what I gather from this piece, and I should point out too, you can find a paywall-free link on my website. This is from a gentleman named J.C. Reeves from the Southeast Missourian who explained the partnership with niche that SEMO has. I'm guessing they're nationwide, Brad.
Did I tell you, and you're going to think I'm a real nerd, but did you tell you, everybody kids about this, but did I tell you for years I used to go to band camp at SEMO?
No way. Did you really? Like voluntarily, or was it part of like a probation thing?
No, it was a blast. I enjoyed every minute of it because, once again, you get to go away for a week. I mean, I started when I was in junior high, and I went all the way through high school. Went every summer. I loved it. It was a whole week, and got to stay in the dorm, and you had to practice X amount of days, but you had a lot of free time, and
wow. What instrument did you play, Brad?
I was low brass. I played trombone, baritone, stuff like that. A little bit of trumpet, not very much, but
wow, I didn't know that. And that was down in Cape Town, so you get to stay in like a big kid dorm and everything like that. And run amok.
It was okay. Here's my high point of my time. Okay, it was one of the high-rise dorms. There's like 2 or 3 of them there, and the way the dorms were set up, they were like, I think they were every other floor. One floor was men, one floor was women, and that's the way they kept it with us. So one time, and we were way up top. I think we were, I want to say maybe the 10th or 11th floor. And one time, one of the elevators got stuck, and it was filled with women and a couple of the chaperones from the floor below us, which was all the floor above us, which was all all women. And the elevator got stuck between floors, and they were like screaming and yelling, because they were all freaking out. And I got a nail file. Don't ask me where I got a nail file. I got a nail file and opened up the door and got them all out.
Wow, are you serious? And that's how your first son came about.
No, that's not how my first
It was
son
like
came.
a lottery.
No.
And never mind.
No, okay.
But wow, Brad.
Yeah, I saved a bunch of women and 2 chaperones, and they were very happy with me. Matter of fact, to the point where I think I got like about 6 or 7 hugs. And when you're like a 14 or 15-year-old kid, let me tell you, that was a day I'll never forget. Okay, moving on. Last but not least,
The number one.
The Renaissance continues in downtown St. Louis. Great news. The quasi-governmental organization called Greater St. Louis Incorporated has purchased the Wainwright State Office Building, the Wainwright SOB. Brad, if you were to buy the Wainwright SOB, what do you think's a fair price?
I already know because I saw this, and I thought to myself, man, that's like bargain basement. It wasn't like
$8 million.
Yeah, $8
million.
I mean, there's houses in Ladue that sell for $8 million. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. And the Wainwright, as we've discussed on this show previously, is a historic building, Brad. It has so much history behind it. And it housed, for folks who don't remember, Governor Parson took the final step along with a housing board, essentially a state office administration group, decided to emancipate state employees from being forced to drive downtown and park and risk life and limb to walk into their office building. They can now just go out to Chesterfield and work in Chesterfield, enjoy the safety of a nice red community, and leave Wainwright to the city, which is great. So Greater St. Louis Inc. has purchased it for $8 million. They don't say exactly what they plan on doing with the building. Brad, my bright idea is that they have to sell the naming rights to this.
No.
Like, how do you not sell the naming rights to, like, Four Loko or Swisher Sweets or something, and make it the Four Loko building?
Why don't they move the Riverfront Times into the building? Why that would be?
Oh, well, because you know what? Actually, Brad, that's a great idea. Think of how many OnlyFans models, and models is in giant air quotes there. Think of how many OnlyFans models you could fit in the name of the RFT into the Wainwright SOB.
You know, it was interesting. Well, let's pick it up on the next segment. And by the way, should I tell my story that I started yesterday? Should I continue with that, or was that?
Oh yeah, the one about the hot box.
Was that of not interest to you? Okay, you want to hear?
Oh no, I definitely want to hear.
Okay.
Let's go to break, and I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna switch microphones when we go to break.
Well, what I was going to say was I was listening to the station, and one of our best of episodes was on, and we were talking about the Riverfront Times, and you made a comment which was sort of interesting. You made a comment whenever they were sold. You said, well, just wait till September. It'll be back on, and they'll be doing news and stuff like that again. You made, I mean, those weren't your exact words, but you were something like that.
Yeah, well, hey, it looks like, September's not over, as Brad Hildebrand would say. There's plenty of time here.
Well, so far, I looked at it yesterday, and it's the same old stuff. Nothing's changed. So,
and I have an anecdote I can tell in 30 seconds here about the Riverfront Times. I looked up the other day, Brad. I was looking up facts about the simp economy.
Uh-huh.
Probably in the first 3 results, it sent me to a thing called SEO. I forgot the name of the company, SEO something. And I was like, gosh, this guy in this operation sounds familiar. Brad, it was the same guy that purchased the Riverfront Times. So if you Google simp economy or how to make money in the simp economy, this guy that runs the OnlyFans / Riverfront Times promo thing is in the first few results for that result.
John, you know what? I stand corrected. I'm just looking at it right now. It's totally different. Have you gone to it?
No, I have a feeling you're baiting me here.
No. It's totally different. Matter of fact, the format is totally different. Matter of fact, there's no pictures at all. There's 3 stories on here. Need a hug, and it says the St. Louis Six are happy to help you. Then cutting it close. The St. Louis family just managed to escape a house fire. Can't keep up with the current slang. They can. And then there's a thing that says Missouri looking for romance. We're not in Kansas anymore. Trending. Needs some serotonin, apples to apple, lessons in sports etiquette at the Paralympics, culture. It's all sorts of stuff on here now.
Oh, I do see it. Yeah, Brad, look at that. Well, you know what? Maybe this guy took a few minutes off from helping OnlyFans creators milk their pay pigs for money and is updating this website.
Pay pigs. You and all your slang. Okay. Hold on a minute. I got to do this. Okay. We're going to take a break. We will be right back.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?